Our fourth Mythic Banner is here. On these special monthly banners, you can get your hands on 12 heroes, and the starting 5-star focus rate is set to 8%. The non-focus 5-star rate is always 0, which means if you do end up with a 5-star unit, it's guaranteed to be one of these 12 heroes. In this video, we'll cover all these units briefly and discuss what good skills they have to offer should you end up with some unwanted copies. Our next mythic hero is going to be Naga, probably one of the most important figures in all of Fire Emblem. Her spot as a mythic hero is not surprising at all. She is a divine dragon and also Tiki's mother, plus is mentioned all over the place in many Fire Emblem games. Definitely a mythical figure. First off, Naga is a blue flying dragon, our first one, and with her introduction you'll be able to field a whole team of flying dragons if you really want. Naga is also going to be our first Astro Mythic hero, which completes the first cycle of all the Mythic blessings. She's going to be very sought after because of this, since the Astro element is the other offense oriented element for Aether raids. Using Naga will grant some nice bonus points, and I'm sure she will make the higher tiers even more competitive, so good luck. While we don't know Naga's confirmed stats just yet, we have her skills. Her old skills include Luna as her special, which is perfectly fine and works against pretty much anyone. Her B skill is Chill Speed, so Naga is going to be debuffing the fastest enemy unit, and by the looks of things, she's going to probably be quite speedy herself. So Naga's unique weapon is called Divine Breath. It's a 16 by Dragonstone that also adds a flat +3 attack. It's effective against dragons, so just like her daughter, Naga can fight off her own kind. Its effect is that it grants attack, speed, defense, and resistance plus X during combat. X is calculated by the number of dragon allies or allies with effectiveness against dragons within 2 spaces times 3. So for one ally who meets these conditions, that's +3 to all stats. 2 allies is +6 to all stats, and the maximum for 3 allies is a whopping +9 to all stats. This is an incredible amount of bonus stats, and it's super easy to achieve because you completely control what allies Naga has. Obviously, dragon units will be great, and effectiveness against dragons probably includes any weapons or skills, meaning Falchion users, the Naga tomes, or even that splashy bucket dagger. As long as Naga stays near her teammates, she's gonna be super scary. Now, Divine Breath may seem like it's limiting you to only certain allies, but Naga has a trick up her sleeve. Naga's unique C skill is called Divine Fang. At the start of the turn, grants effectiveness against dragons to adjacent allies for 1 turn. Basically, this is a new type of status that gives any unit bonus damage against dragon foes. It's a reference to the Falchion being made from one of Naga's fangs, and it's a cool new buff. If you run a full dragon emblem team, you may want to be a little worried, because if Naga is on the other team, all of her allies can become Dragon Slayers too. She may not be as strong of a Dragon Slayer as Legendary Marth, but being able to give this ability to the whole team is quite powerful. Of course, if there are no dragons to face, then it loses some value. Still, by granting the dragon effectiveness buff to any ally, Naga gets her bonus stats from Divine Breath, meaning Divine Fang isn't that bad even if there aren't enemy Manicheets. This skill gives you the flexibility to run any unit type and still possibly get that juicy +9 to all stats. Naga's other new skill is ARO, Attack and Speed 3. Basically another Aether Raids only skill, and this one works on offense only. It grants bonus attack and speed depending on how many enemy structures are still standing. If there are 2 or less, Naga gets a massive +10 attack and speed, 3 structures gets her +7, and 4 structures gets +4. If you can't destroy anything, then it's a measly +1. So Naga is an Astro Mythic hero, which makes her useful for offense teams since she grants bonus points if you win. Obviously this is a good skill for her, but outside of Aether Raids, you'll need to give Naga something else. While I think the defense Aether Raid skills are a bit more reliable, I'm still not sure how good the offensive ones are. If the enemy has their structures really far in the back, then it makes the skill much weaker since you can't destroy them, and most times that's how it normally is going to be. To me, even though we don't know Naga's full stats, I'm sure with her huge +9 in all stats potential, you could replace the skill with something like Distant Counter. She might actually be a decent Distant Counter plus no Seek Disrupt unit, since they can help deal with a lot of annoying Aether Raid defenses. However, she is a flying dragon though, so maybe not the best choice unless you also run Iota Shield. Overall, however Naga's stats turns out, I think she will be very popular just for the extra points in Aether Raids. If you're in the upper tiers, I would highly recommend not using full dragon teams when it's Astro season, because that is asking for trouble. Naga will be extremely useful just for the dragon effectiveness buff, and from the looks of things, she's gonna be packing some crazy stats thanks to Divine Breath. I actually really like her kit, or at least her weapon and unique skill, so I'm hoping that I can snag a copy myself. Visually, she looks great, and her attack animation is crazy too. Fun little bit of info, but earlier sometime the Learning with Sharena website put out an update, and it talked about Divine Fang and the ability to grant dragon effectiveness to allies. Considering we had a mythic hero coming up, it made it pretty easy to guess that Naga was the next unit, and I think she's going to be a good one. Now to discuss the 11 other 5-star units on this banner. For red we have Legendary Erica, New Year's Gunther, and Harid. Blue has Mythic Naga, Legendary Young Tiki, and Brave Hector. Green has Legendary Lin, New Year's Fjorm, and Lu. Finally, colorless has Mythic Duma, New Year's Levatine, and Valoria. If you want to get Naga, now is definitely not a bad time to do so. In the red group, Legendary Erica returns. She's an insanely fast sword cavalier who dishes out some serious damage thanks to her Lunar Brace B skill, which basically adds an entire Luna special worth of damage on top of her normal special procs. Storm Signaling grants extra cooldown reduction when Erica fights alone, so she can really take advantage of Lunar Brace. Plus with attack and speed solo, she gets a huge stat boost. She's a very fun unit to use, and her attack and speed solo skill is definitely one of the best skills you can inherit. New Year's Gunther has Hikami, which debuffs the nearest enemy within 4 spaces with -4 to all stats. Gunther is also a very strong offensive flying sword unit, so she can be pretty scary to deal with. She has Swift Sparrow and Desperation, so she is ready for offensive maneuvers. Her C skill is Joint Hone Speed, which only this Gunther has, and it's an incredibly good buffing skill in my opinion. It's like Hone Speed, granting adjacent allies +5 speed at the start of a turn, but if the user applies the buff to an ally, they also receive the same buff. It's slightly different from a wave buff, and its strongest trait being that it can activate every turn. In contrast to Legendary Erica, we have Harid, who is a super slow sword cavalier but can be incredibly tanky. His unique sword allows him to stop a follow-up if the enemy has a debuff on them, and it also gives Harid a follow-up attack, making him a very strong unit in the right scenarios. His Freezing Seal B skill applies a debuff to the enemy with the lowest res stat every turn, so Harid always has a potential target. He also has Attack Smoke, which spreads an AoE attack debuff, again helping him activate his weapon more often. On top of all of this, Harid has Distant Counter, which he uses very well himself, but also makes him prime fodder. If you want to summon red, we have 3 great units and some very strong skills on each of them. The blue group is going to be a lot of fun. If you want Naga, you have to hope for the best, but luckily she is paired with 2 strong units. In terms of skill inheritance, Naga has the new Aether Raids only offense skill if you want it, and also Chill Speed. Not too crazy, but do remember that merges make a difference for Aether Raid score, so you may want to keep extra copies of Naga for that. Naga is paired up with her daughter Tiki, and Legendary Young Tiki is quite the monster. She is also a blue dragon, but an armored one instead. Her Divine Mist is effective against dragons too, but also comes with Distant Counter built in. Combined with Fierce Breath, which grants extra attack and reduces special cooldown, Tiki is scary to attack into. You also can't let her attack first, since she has Bold Fighter, and her stats are pretty high since she is an armored unit. Tiki's C skill with everyone grants adjacent allies and herself a +5 defense and res buff, so she gets even tankier. Tiki is a very strong unit in my opinion. Last up is Brave Hector. As the winner of Choose Your Legends 2, Hector is pretty darn good. His weapon Maltet is a slaying lance with built-in quick riposte, and he has his own version of Distant Counter. He even has Bold Fighter too, so if you love armor units, blue is definitely going to be a good color to summon, even if you don't get Naga. Bold Fighter can turn pretty much any army unit into a scary monster. Next up we have the green group. Legendary Lin is an okay unit. Her Swift Mulligan is decent, granting extra attack and speed, but her Laws of Decay skill wants Lin to get attacked first, and her stats aren't exactly that great for tanking. The idea is for her to tank a hit and get into desperation range, so she gets some player phase power. However, you can just replace Laws of Decay with Fury and get similar results anyway, and stats for the player phase too. As a green bow, Lin is somewhat unique, but hasn't exactly been a standout unit so far. She does have Speed Tactic though, which is an incredibly good buffing skill. Next up is New Year's Fjorm, another green archer, but she is a flying archer too. Quite the unique unit, Fjorm has good offensive stats, plus with attack and speed bond and attack and speed link, she can gain crazy amounts of offensive stats. Definitely a more offensive threat, and her Kaburaya bow is an inheritable bow that has a chill speed effect. I think attack and speed link is a fun skill, and flyers can easily apply to teammates. Overall, I think Fjorm is a pretty decent unit, although like Legendary Lin, I'm not sure if green bows are to everyone's liking so far. Last up we have Lu, a green infantry mage, another unit with strong offensive stats. Lu's kit is actually more about defense. He has Grand Serpent, which grants distant defense 3, plus mirror stance to tank more magical damage. Lu has Rally Up Res Plus and Attack Feint, which is interesting, allowing him to buff his team while debuffing the enemy. He has an interesting kit, but he also can just run a more offensive build like his mother Nino by using a good old Blade Tome. Green has some interesting skills to inherit and fun units, but I would probably say it's on a lower priority compared to the rest of the banner. Last up we have colorless, starting with Mythic Duma. He's a colorless armored dragon who is quite annoying to deal with if you don't have the right tools. His Fell Breath weapon gives him bonus stats and nullifies enemy follow-up attack if Duma is fighting a foe with less than 4 HP. His Upheaval C skill ensures this by dealing 7 damage to all enemies on turn 1, and in Aether Raid's defense teams he destroys structures in the same column as him. Without healing, Duma can be quite a troublesome unit, and he only gets tankier with defense and res solo, plus he has Bold Fighter, making him somewhat scary on offense too. I actually find Duma more annoying in arena, personally. Next is New Year's Levantine, who is a cavalry healer. She has high attack and Wrathful Staff, so her single hits can do good damage. Her Kumade staff inflicts -5 attack and speed on the enemy with the highest defense stat, which can be annoying. For buffs, she has Earth Fire Bomb, which grants +6 attack and defense globally, and even defense wave for some self-buffing too. Overall, Levantine isn't bad, but not exactly going to be a crazy powerful unit compared to some other staff cavaliers. Last we have Valoria, who is a colorless beast unit. Valoria is incredibly balanced stat-wise and is fast, so she can pretty much fight anyone to some effectiveness. Her Wolf Pup Fang weapon is very interesting and requires the use of an ally support. Valoria and her ally supported partner get -2 cooldown on turn 1, which can create some unique scenarios. It opens up a lot of interesting strategies. For her other skills, Close Defense is great, giving added protection against melee enemies, and Ward Beast helps her buff beast allies. Overall, colorless has some decent units and skills, but again, not as crazy as the blue or red groups. Hopefully this helped you decide on what units or color groups are worth summoning for. Personally, I think Naga has a great group if you want to get her this time. Red is also pretty strong with some very good skills too. Colorless and green are sort of a lower priority, at least for me, but that's obviously going to be different for everyone. I think Naga is going to be good, hopefully not super strong, but solid at least. Since she is our Astro Mythic hero, she will definitely be popular in Aether Raids, and be prepared to see her a lot. In general, Naga is a fantastic unit for anyone struggling with dragon heavy teams. I definitely see her being useful for arena assault. Unfortunately, anyone who primarily uses dragons or full dragon emblem teams, you're gonna have a tough time dealing with Naga. You may be able to deal with her, but she can give that dragon effectiveness to anyone, including units like Veronica, who can hit you and not get countered anyway. I think Garen is still the only dragon that nullifies dragon effectiveness, however he is a red unit, so Naga has the color advantage anyway. I'm looking forward to this banner, and I'll be trying to get Naga myself. Let me know your thoughts on this Mythic Banner or Mythic Naga. Thanks for watching, good luck on summoning, and I'll see you guys in the next video.